Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Thursday, March 16th, 2017. My name is Rich, and joining me once again this week is Bijan. How are you making out?
I'm hot, man. It is super hot out here. We'll discuss that in a minute, but how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm in the middle of a blizzard. Don't tell me it's hot. I don't want to hear that.
Oh, we have a lot to discuss about the weather this time. But we got somebody else here, so let's bring him up.
Yeah, we've got Noah Kaufman and Dory from the Wolfpack with us as well. How are you guys making out?
Oh, dude, it's good to be here again, you guys.
Yeah, we're doing fantastic.
It's been a little while.
What up?
Yeah, it has been a bit. And actually, this is funny because this is Ian's first time on the podcast with us, I believe, which means we have now had all four members of the Wolfpack on with us at one point or another.
Hey, good point.
Done.
Ow!
Ow!
So we've brought Ian and Noah with us on the podcast to discuss the Wolfpack Ninja Tour, which is coming up, which we've been very excited for months, and it is really coming together now with just a little over a month left to go. I'm going to kick it over to you guys to kind of give us the rundown, but I will say that it looks awesome, and it's going to be April 29th and 30th in Denver, Colorado. So run us through it, guys. How are you making out with it?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is Noah. And just real quick before we even jump too much into Wolfpack, I just want to say and give a huge shout out. We just dropped a podcast on the Wolfpack Ninja Podcast about the National Ninja League. And we had Chris Wilczewski on there. And of course, they just had finals. So, all these different events, Wolfpack Ninja Tour, National Ninja League, Kevin's Pitfall League, Alpha Warrior down there, UNAA, all these great ninja events are just providing so much opportunity for our whole community and for anybody who's interested in obstacle course racing. Huge shout out to the NNL and Drew Dreschel who took it down. And
respect.
Yeah, and then on the women's side, was it Alyssa Beard?
Alyssa, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they just dominated, and so it was a really good podcast and great conversation with Chris. So if you guys want to check that out, but Ian, tell them about the tour.
Yeah. So as you were saying, April 29th and 30th, we're going to set up in the Magnus Arena in Denver, Colorado. We have a massive full-scale ninja course.
Yeah.
So it's for kids and adults, 12 years old, all the way up to professionals. We have kids classes. There's a vendor fair. So you can come out and just hang out. There's tons of 501c3s.
Yeah.
And did I mention there's $30,000 in cash to win for the pros? It's a pretty... We're excited.
Yeah, we were really excited. All the top ninjas are going to be there. Actually, they have like ownership and profit sharing, and they're getting money out of this to support the ninja life, because a lot of ninjas live out of their cars. Like literally, it's not like there's professional athletes yet. Even though we're on the TV show, there's not a lot of financial compensation. So a lot of ninjas have to still work jobs and whatnot. So we're trying to change that. And so we've got our pro team captains. We've got Jesse Graff and Jeff Britton. We've got Ryan Stratus, Joe Moravsky. We've got Jennifer Tavernier. Mm-hmm. We've got
Megan
Martin.
JJ.
Yep, JJ.
Flip
Rodriguez. Travis Brewer. Modern Tarzan.
Yep. Then the Wolfpack, of course.
Yeah, all the Wolfpacks can be there. I mean, so we said Megan already, but Brian, Ian, myself. And then, of course, we've got a bunch of other athletes from other sports. We've got the national bouldering champion coming out, Nathaniel Coleman.
Oh, that's going to be really interesting because he's such a confident rock climber and so quick, with solving problems. I can't wait to see him on a ninja course.
He's amazing.
He could be the best. He easily could be.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Is he from America?
He is, yeah. He's the national champion. He's from Utah. Mm-hmm. He's a young guy, and he's just dominant on the scene.
That's going to be interesting this might be his step into, Ninja Warrior. So you have to really show him a good time, guys, because we want to see him on the show. That'll be really fun.
Well, right. And, Carson Voiles is coming out. He's one of the best, and he's been training with Nathaniel a little bit, and he's like, uh-oh. Nobody even has any clue,
That's
so
surprising.
I mean, you think about like Josh Levin or Isaac or Jeff or Ian here, any of the rock climbers who have done pretty well on the show, and this guy is like quite a bit better
He's one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
First time in his World Cup circuit tour He got 2 silver medals after winning the national championship. So,
and this is one of the best rock climbers in the world, talking about another one of the.
Oh, he's just amazing.
So
yeah.
I mean, Ian, you're pretty.
I'm pretty good.
You're pretty good.
He's really good.
Yeah. He never gets tired.
You're pretty decent, man. Just a little bit.
No, the event's going to be great. I mean, the important thing for us also is that it benefits the Children's Hospital of Colorado. So we're giving away a ton of tickets to needy kids and sick kids, and we're giving we're giving monies to the Children's Hospital of Colorado. It's just really cool how it's coming together and all the interest that's been in it, and people are coming from all over the world. I mean, we have Australians competing, people from the UK. And guys all over Canada, Nova Scotia, Calgary, Ottawa. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's crazy. All over the country. So even though this is supposed to be like the kickoff event for a national tour, everybody's getting in on this historic first event. And it's really unbelievable. We've sold thousands of tickets so far, and the VIPs sold out already. And we had to open up a second tranche, and we're almost sold out of those. So
yeah, and just quickly, there's some side competitions. There's handstand competition, a pull-up competition, and a rope climbing competition as well. So
and over 40.
Yeah,
fastest time over 40 gets $400.
That's right.
So
just for you,
nice.
Well, we won't be competing. That's a good point.
Yeah.
We won't be competing, and myself and depending on the Spartan show schedule, myself and Evan Dollard will be emceeing the event. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That sounds amazing. So the thing that really stood out to me is just how many ninjas from around the country and really around the world are going out to this event. I mean, as you guys said, it's very historic and everything. Yeah. But I think in a way, this is kind of a celebration of the Ninja Warrior community. And if anybody's even thinking about being a part of this and, being part of this historic event, definitely make out for there, because you're going to see almost everybody that has a true passion for this sport. It really sounds pretty amazing. And hats off to you guys for putting this all together. I mean, it sounds like a monstrous task, but you guys were able to do it. So
it is, and there's not a lot of money in the event business, so it's definitely not like for the money. Like, we probably won't break even on this one, especially with a charity partner. But I mean, that's okay. We have a longer term vision, and hopefully, ultimately, if we can cover our costs, we bought a huge truss course. We've got a massive course. Did you guys see the video or?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We'll be linking that in the show notes for sure. It looks really, really cool.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's going to be a big, crazy racing course. But here's the cool thing is, as ninjas, we know how to set the difficulty level. And it literally, my 5-year-old can do it. But then the pros are going to be able to run through it when we just take out 1 or 2 elements. It becomes... So you can make it like a 5-year-old course so any kid that ever wanted to try a real ninja course... This is literally their chance. It's really cool. And when we first got up on the truss, I looked over at Ian and I was like, oh man, this feels exactly like when we're on the show.
Yep, totally does.
Yeah, it's really cool. You kind of start to get the shiver through the spine, and you're like, this is the best. This is the most fun playground equipment I've ever been on. It's fun. It's really fun to be designing it and to be the ones now who are in possession of the course. And so everybody's going to get to play on it. And the other thing is, in Ninja, it's like heartbreaking when you go and you fall and you get one chance and you're done. And you're just like, you're almost more sad because you're like, oh, I wanted to get to that obstacle. I just wanted to play more.
Totally.
Like, we just wish we could play more. So now at this event, people are going to be able to play on these obstacles all day long. And then for the competition, everybody's going to get 3 tries, up to 3 tries to run the course. Wow. So if you screw up, if you screw up 3 times, I'm sorry. You're probably not moving on to finals. But But then the finals competition is going to be in front of 6,000, screaming fans. And so it's like a legit sporting event.
Yeah, and the finals will be the top 16 fastest athletes that posted times starting Saturday morning until Sunday about 4:30. We'll cut it off.
Yeah, in the pro division.
Yeah, in the pro division.
In the amateur and youth division, it's the top 8 advance. So.
And in the finals, will the course be modified by any chance? We don't need specifics, but
no, of course. Yeah, so for the pro men and women, yes, the course will become much more aerodynamically, visually stimulating, and like there'll be trampolines. It'll be very exciting. It's going to change for sure. For the amateurs and the youth, we definitely want to keep it safe, and so we don't want combined elements, and we want it to be safe. So it'll be a very similar course to the qualifying course.
So I've got like 1,000 questions for you guys here.
Please, yeah, great.
So the safety aspect of it. So was that tough to come up with, like figuring out the safety aspects and insurance and all the rigmarole that goes with that?
Yes, it is. It's very challenging.
Full-time
Insurance
job.
it's a full-time thing. But then safety and padding on the course, that's just on the fly, constant thinking and adjusting, making sure the pads are in the right spot, and how do you pad this or that. It's just, you're always thinking about it, and honestly, it keeps me up at night thinking about it.
Yeah, and every sporting activity that you do has a certain level of danger, and they don't show it too much on American Ninja Warrior or Team Ninja Warrior, but every single season people break bones, people dislocate stuff. I mean, and they've got a very well padded course. We're going to try and pad even better than what you would see on the show, and we obviously, our goal is 0 injuries. But when people are trucking and when they're committed, it's hard. And so our best advice is, people need to be really smart about stretching, warming up, and then not redlining it to the point where they're going to go flying off the course crazy. But we have spotters, which they don't have on Ninja Warrior, and we've got a lot of padding that we've invested in, a lot.
Yeah, and on Ninja Warrior, they tend to be a little bit higher in the air and have higher risk obstacles.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
And our obstacles are just not as high risk. We're designing them purposely that you wouldn't necessarily fall directly onto your head. They do have water. We don't have water, so they have a little more play with some of that dynamic stuff that they can do. And we're, for this event, are kind of shying away from some of the bigger, commitment jumps that you can break your neck or something.
Yeah, but we have these 1.5 foot airbags on the ground that, I mean, you can literally fall. You can really fall on your head.
I've taken some pretty intense falls on those pads.
And we've tested it with kids and kids falling off the course, and nobody's gotten hurt yet. We're being careful about it, but yeah, that's a really good question, and it's definitely on our mind and on our radar the whole time. And the warp walls, we have, instead of just one 14-foot, 8-inch warp wall, which we do have, we have also, several other warp walls. And so you can kind of choose which warp wall you want to run up. And if you're shorter, if you're, 10 years old, you can run up the shorter warp wall and then climb up the other warp walls, the edges, and then hit the buzzer at the top. So it's really made for everybody to be able to come out and experience and have fun with.
So in the process of creating the course and everything, I mean, you guys were alluding to the warped walls and everything, but how hard was it to figure out what obstacles you wanted for this course? And did you take any, suggestions outside of Ninja Warrior?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was kind of in a collaboration of, oh, this sounds fun, this is cool, here's what we have already built, and how can we make it more interesting? How can we add diversity to the course, go up and down, side to side, up and down. So it's been a team effort, and it'll definitely change and evolve as we test them and need to make changes for safety, or it's not easy enough for a 12-year-old, or how do we adjust it to be more fun for the pro athletes. And yeah, it's definitely evolving and changing.
Yeah, I guess I would add to that by saying we've tried to stay away from any kind of ninja obstacles that you would see on like American Ninja Warrior or Team Ninja Warrior. But of course, obstacles are always different. And of course, we have, similar walls to what they have, but the angles are different. It's not going to be, it'll feel very different and like a unique experience running up our walls. But the rest of the obstacles are definitely original and fairly unique. We haven't seen most of them.
So you guys had massive plans in the beginning. I know for the big tour and for, all of these different stages. I was a little surprised when I saw that it was going to be in an indoor venue. I mean, that comes with lots of nice perks, I'm sure, where you guys don't have to worry as much about, concessions and parking and security and
weather
quite as much. The weather, of course, weather being a huge one. But did you guys have to scale it down for the venue, or is that still basically what your goal was in the end?
No, I think the venue is always the goal. Our partners, they own the Blue Man Group and have a bunch of events that they do, and they have connections to Madison Square Garden and Pepsi Center. So that's where we want to be, is we want to be in arenas, ultimately, in stadiums and whatnot. And so I think that it's important to control the weather, because with Ninja, especially if it rains, they run people anyway.
Yeah,
on
totally.
the course. So a lot of people end up falling on Ninja Warrior, and you never get the backstory that their course was way harder because it was all wet. So it's not very fair. And so if the weather cancels an event, then you could lose hundreds of thousands of dollars and go out of business. So arenas are really the way to go, and it's in the wheelhouse of our partners.
That makes a lot of sense too, because you're basically trying to make a more crowd-friendly, like, spectator version of Ninja. So I guess that makes a lot of sense to have the stadium seating and everything already there.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we've been dissing UK Ninja Warrior like crazy, but I will say the one plus from UK Ninja Warrior is it was indoors, and it made for a much better experience, we have to imagine, for the audience. So, good idea. Plus, nobody likes rain. Nobody likes snow. I mean, no, thank you during course.
Yeah, and we're not doing a TV show. We're doing a sport. We're doing like a legitimate sport. So it's not like this is a televised event that, you know what I'm saying? So
it's about convenience.
Yeah. I mean, we're focused on the sport. It's not like if you see something happen, there are rules, and there's not a ton of rules, but it's going to be very fair, and whoever walks away, men and women have equal prizes. First place wins in pro wins $7,500 each. Second place wins, I think, like $2,500 each, and third place is $1,000, and it pays out to 10th place. Ultimately, we're always going to keep that fair between men and women and between the divisions. But ultimately, we want $1 million prizes that pay out to like 50th place. And, if that's 3 to 5 years, then so be it. But there's a lot of interest. There's a lot of big sponsors who are showing interest, and it's interesting. It's amazing. There's like 10 or 15 deals floating around in the air that are just really exciting. The interest out there is unbelievable.
That's exciting, man. I mean, at the end of the day, especially for the first event, you're going to want as much publicity as possible, and it certainly seems like a lot of people are interested in making this a big thing, so that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's got to be fun, hopefully everybody has a really good time. I think the VIPs who are coming from all over are well poised, because they get to spend the whole weekend playing on events and get a VIP catered party with the ninjas, and it's kind of like a vacation. They're coming out for a ninja-themed vacation. It's kind of cool.
Totally.
In one of your videos, you mentioned the VIPs, and you said, and I'm not sure I understand what this means, that they gave away their classes to some needy kids. Can you explain what that was all about?
Oh, it's so cool. So yeah, this started actually with a Canadian couple from Calgary.
Of course.
And yeah, very giving people, very altruistic. But they literally emailed us and said, hey, my husband and I, we're coming down. We're very excited. We don't really need to take the kids' classes with the ninjas, but we're excited about everything else. Is there any way that we can give our kids' classes, to some needy kids? And we were like, oh, wow, that is so nice. And so, we said, sure, of course, we'll find a way to do that. And we let the rest of the VIPs know about that, and so many of the parents were like, oh yeah, we'll give our classes. And before we knew it, we were dealing with our Children's Hospital of Colorado partner, and we said, hey, look, we'll give you these tickets to give to these sick kids and their families to bring some brightness and joy in their life, and then we'll match it with spectator tickets. So not only do they get the ninja class, but they get this full weekend experience. And then the Girls and Boys Club is also involved, and they're going to be giving it to inner city kids who just can't afford something that is this cool and kind of expensive to put on and costs money, But these kids, we want them all to be able to enjoy it. So we've got over 40 tickets donated now, over $5,000 worth. It's unbelievable. And I literally teared up the other night talking to my wife about it, saying like, we're really going to make an impact. We're really going to do something good, and we're going to be able to involve everybody. And a lot of it is because these people who have disposable incomes, who love ninja, are just being so kind and with their philanthropy. And it's just really amazing.
It's really amazing.
And it's totally part of the ninja spirit. So, the ninjas are all psyched about it. And it's just wonderful.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm kind of glad we're not on video, because you would have seen me almost tear up there. That is really, really cool.
It is. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I work with a lot of special needs kids, and that kind of stuff is really important to me. Now, let's hear a little bit about this organization that you're working with, that you're raising all this money for. I mean, how involved are they going to be? Are the kids really excited for this event also? Are you going to have them maybe come out to it?
Yeah, they're going to be there. They're going to have a booth there. Obviously, like I said, we're just giving them money, so they're super excited. And yeah, they get a % of ticket sales as well. And then, of course, all these donation tickets to these sick kids. So yeah, they're super pumped about it. And this has been a wonderful kind of secondary thing, but they have 10,000 employees, and, they let everybody know about the event. And, we have a media partner with the local Channel 9 affiliate, and they're going to be doing PSAs and, little spots about the event. And it's cool because it incorporates the Children's Hospital of Colorado as well. And so it's like all these organizations, these companies who are normally, I get the feeling, like, I think of corporations, I think of like profit-driven capitalism, which is whatever. It's good and bad, right? And I think a lot of these companies see this as a way to just help our kids. And I think as a lot of people know, America, the USA is a sick country. I mean, we're like 60th on the list for average lifespan. 7 out of 10 of our adults are overweight or obese. 1 in 3 kids are overweight or obese. I mean, something has got to change. It's like ridiculous. It's a horrible epidemic. And my wife and I are physicians. And, we just recognize through our fans telling us through Twitter and through Facebook and through everything, like, hey guys, my family lost 50 pounds, or I got my dad to quit smoking, or we cut soda pop out of the house. And we're like, oh, this is awesome getting this feedback. And so now we've got this tour, and those are the messages and the lessons that we're going to be imparting in our kids, and trying to just plant these seeds of greatness in them.
So I'm wondering how you're going to link all this back. So I know you've been speaking out a lot against childhood obesity and battling that.
Yeah.
Are you tying that directly into the event? Are you going to do some speaking about it during the whole thing?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked. I mean, basically, each of the classes, the ninja classes, we're going to be giving kids advice, very simple advice. Like, hey guys, ninjas don't really drink soda pop. Like, try and cut that out of your diet. Soda pop's horrible for you. Sugar's really bad. Try and decrease the sugar. And so just really simple messages, and just coming from their inspirational, like, role models and mentors and ninja class teachers. And then during the event, obviously, there's going to be time on the microphone where we can just motivate the whole crowd to live a healthier life, and to be, what's so fascinating about ninjas, everybody sees it and they like want to get up and go and do it, and they want to get up and go and work out. It's like, it's motivational to make your own life better and to make yourself into a ninja. And so I think that it's very easy and very natural to incorporate our mission and our lessons into the classes, into any kind of interaction we have with the with the people, the participants and the spectators. So yeah, super important to us. I'm glad you asked, for sure.
Bijan, do you get anything else left?
It's funny.
Yeah, no. I mean,
over here, I'm like, is Rich gonna say something?
Well, we've been kind of going back and forth. I wanted to give you one more chance to jump in.
No, man. I mean, basically, basic gist of everything. I know you had a whole lot more questions, Rich. So it's like, go at it, man.
No, I mean, and you guys asked a ton of questions. We talked a bunch about it. We don't need to beat a dead horse. People should come out if they're interested. Wolfpackninjatour.com. You can see videos of the course, kids doing it. Wolfpackninjatour.com. And I mean, hopefully we see everybody there. And it's going to be an unbelievable event. All the ninjas will be there. And it'll be, I'm really interested to see who wins, just from a sporting perspective. So I think it's going to be a good spectator event, good participant event. And
yeah, it's just a good way to get plugged into the community of ninja and to come hang out with all these guys and gals that are passionate about health and fitness and obstacle course racing. It's a big family. So if you want to come join the family, make time for it.
Yeah, there's one of the only events maybe in the history of the sport. I mean, there's events like Rockford and, there's a bunch of events where there's a lot of ninjas coming together, and maybe this is just one more event like that. But I think between the prize money and the trust course and the historic nature of it, I mean, like, all the ninjas will be there. This will be probably, besides Vegas, the place where we have the most ninjas together,
right,
in one place in the country.
Absolutely, but in Vegas you can't come and meet the ninjas,
Yeah,
we're all fenced
exactly.
off.
Yeah, we're fenced off.
Exactly. So there is no comparison to this. I was looking at what I was going to do this year, if I was going to get out to see an A&W competition, but I kept thinking, if I could get to the Wolfpack Ninja Tour, that is way better because you can interact with everybody. Because when you go to watch the filming, you don't want to, throw anybody off. Everybody's kind of trying to prepare. Everybody's very super friendly and everything, but at the same time,
it's game time.
Yeah, exactly. And this is kind of a more fun event. I think everybody would be more in better spirits. It's not in the middle of the night. It's just a better venue.
I think that's a big deal, by the way. Yeah. I don't think many people understand like how late they filmed this A&W. It is late.
Oh yeah.
Well, and this is pretty funny. You guys will like this. So on A&W, when they bring us to Vegas every year, they put us in Hooters.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no. So Hooters is like, and it's like smoky and like the lobby, and it's so gnarly.
Oh, yeah.
And like all the ninjas are like, I can't believe we're staying at Hooters. It's really kind of like horrible. So we're just kind of happy. Westin is our hotel partner, and Westin has comped all the ninjas' rooms, and these are like pretty expensive.
Yeah,
these are pretty expensive, like downtown Denver hotel rooms for the ninjas. So it's unbelievable. And our VIPs are getting a massive discount there, and we're going to have a special pool party just with the ninjas. So it's pretty cool, and it's nice to have the nice hotel. It's just
good
kind of
treatment for the athletes.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny,
I can just imagine the pool parties.
Yeah,
and not only that, but like the crazy videos you guys are gonna make, like doing some acro crazy yoga stuff. Like I can just imagine.
Oh, I know. Travis and Tarzan are going to be there, and so is Jesse. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
A lot of flips, I'm guessing. A lot of flips. Now, another thing that I wanted to just shout out to everybody is if you can't make it, like me, definitely keep an eye out, like praise them, share whatever you can in social media. At least you can do your part for this sport in general in this event by getting the notoriety and the word out there for everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's going to make a huge difference, and I'm really rooting for you guys. Now, are you guys going to have any video of the maybe the finals or anything like that after the event?
Yeah, I think so. There'll be a media package, and actually, Jeff Britton is a cameraman and has experience, and he has some colleagues who are going to come out. And
nice.
I don't. There's a couple other deals that are kind of floating around in the air, and it's really kind of. It's tough to say, we definitely want something, then there will be a highlight reel, but you won't be able, it's not going to be like, it might be a few minutes long and you would just get to see the highlights. We're not going to stream it, it's going to be kind of, you got to be there, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. That's fine as long as you got the highlights. I mean, after the event and everything, I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be interested in at least like seeing whoever wins the event, like what did they do to get to win it all, Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this whole event. It sounds really, really fun.
Oh man,
just not only being there, but just reading about it and everything else.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Bijan,
cool.
you'll be able to get there when they come on tour and they come by San Diego or LA. You'll be able to go there, and if they come by Boston,
LA,
I'll get to there.
Yeah, you guys have to come out to LA, man.
I think so. I think LA could conceivably be our second stop.
Yeah.
Yep. We have like a loose plan based on whether or not we're going to be successful. But it's looking like a success. I mean, we've sold a lot of tickets and the event has to go off without a hitch kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I think we might be out in LA at some point.
Well, I'll be there if that happens. You can watch me fail immediately at the first obstacle.
Nah, you'll have fun, man. You won't fail.
You'll be fine on the first one. At least.
No, I think I'll be all right.
Yeah, and we're really trying to balance it out. A lot of people are like, great, a bunch of rock climbers making an obstacle course. Great. But
we're thinking about the parkour and other obstacle course racers too.
We've actually erred on the side of, I would say, if anything, this probably favors a lower body athlete.
It does.
Because it's a speed course and the upper body stuff, like there's no big cannonballs. It's all like really easy grip stuff. I mean, you have to be a ninja, but like I said, kids can do this course. So there's lanes and like various choices you can make to move faster. And that's kind of what's exciting is that the pros can like you get like an A, B, or C almost with the shared obstacle.
Yeah, I mean, Brian and I ran the course probably 6 or 7 times, and it was different outcomes almost every time just because of paths that we decided to take, on the fly decisions. So it's interesting.
Everybody wants to know who's the best out of you guys on this course.
It changes.
It does change.
It changes with the week.
How about this? Who do you guys think is going to win this whole competition? Let's just put the names out there, man.
Yeah,
my money
that's great.
is going to be on Joe Morosky.
Drew's on the list, I think. Joe Morosky.
Dude, I got to say, Carson Voiles is looking so good.
His videos are looking pretty awesome.
He is so fast, and I think that
Jesse LaFleur is on the list.
Jesse LaFleur is on our pro team. He could take it down.
Is Jake Murray there?
Yeah,
Jake Murray could probably win it.
Matt Wilder.
Matt Wilder's is like a...
Matt Wilder is...
Sleeping Wolf.
Yeah, Dark Horse.
Yeah, Dark Horse.
He is total... Like, he could literally...
Wait till you see him Team Ninja.
Yeah, wait till you see Matt Wilder.
We saw him last season already, and Matt was great.
No, it's a whole new level this year.
Yeah, it's a different
It's
level.
like he took his super pills.
Did he?
He took super pills.
I look forward to that, man.
Yeah, so no, those are the people, and then on the women's side, Jessie Lebrecq is coming out. Flex will be there, and
nice.
She's going to be a
Both
favorite.
Jessies.
Obviously, Megan and Jessie are always top runners. Jennifer Tavernier is on our pro team. She could really, she's so fast and strong. Of course, she was on Brian's team, Party Team, when they took down Team Ninja last year, and she proved herself there.
Who's that gal from Fort Collins? The young gal that ran at one of our events. What's her name? No, was it Brittany?
Which one?
She did the warp wall at Peach Fest.
Oh, Kenzie.
Yeah,
I don't know if she'll be in the pro division, but there's a 14-year-old girl who is like a phenom. And literally, I'm not even kidding, I bet she could hang, if not beat, the top women of Ninja Warrior. Like, she's every bit as good.
She'll do well.
Rachel Brown?
What's that?
Is her name Rachel Brown?
No, but I've heard of Rachel Brown, and she could also dominate.
Oh. So another 14-year-old. Man, these young girls are killing it.
I'm telling you, that's the thing is Ninja is a kids event, and these kids are going to be so much better than any of us are, at this stage and point, because they're the future. And so, I mean, there's another kid, Max, who's another 14-year-old around here who's going to dominate. But there's a lot of kids flying in from the East Coast who are also really good ninjas. And honestly, Jeff Britton could take it down on the guy's
Jeff
side.
could do it. I mean...
Oh, easily, yeah.
Yeah. So, God, it's so tough to say, I mean, Dan Yeager could do it. It's like... He keeps up with us or passes us. And,
he's a sprinter too.
Yeah.
So he definitely could, but we'll see.
I mean, Drew Dreschel obviously is just such an animal that if I had to give it to one guy, I might give it to Carson.
Nice.
Drew's one enough. Drew's fine.
Carson, nice.
Yeah. No, it's going to be cool. We'll see what happens.
All right, so that's That's it for the Wolfpack Ninja Tour. Thanks, guys, for giving us all the details, and we'll pass along anything else that we learn along the way, and we'll keep reminding everybody about it. But I have to pick your brain before you guys go.
Yeah.
So, Ultimate Beastmaster, Bijan and I have been covering it, and we love it. And I'm just curious what your take on it is, because you guys have a unique perspective, and it's something that we were kind of curious what the ninjas thought of this show. Like, is it something you aspire to? Do you think it's too different, too similar? Just, I guess, Noah, to you first. Like, what do you think of it?
Yeah, so I think my hopes were too high. When the show actually came out, I'm very busy with what we're doing, and I don't watch a lot of TV. So I just wasn't that interested. I felt like the level of athlete was generally quite a bit lower than American Ninja Warrior, and the announcing really didn't do it for me. The concept of the show is very cool. I love the points. I love those extra points that you can go for. I love that it's like a video game. The set is absolutely crazy. I like that you can touch the water, and that it's kind of like you have to fail. Like, you have to completely fail. It's not like, oh, I had this micro dab in the water and now you're out and your whole season's done. So, I would say that overall, I'm not going to watch it but I feel like at the same time, they're going to iron out the kinks. And I mean, of course it's Netflix, so I watched the first episode. Then I heard that there was I won't give any spoilers, but I heard there was a really good athlete. I fast forwarded to his episode. I watched him. And then I watched the final episode, and I fast forwarded through it. So I watched the whole season. I gave the first show a good watching, and then I skipped the rest of the season. Right. And I skimmed it, and felt like I got my value out of it. But I think there's a lot of potential, and I've heard that it gets better and better and better.
I think for me, I liked how athlete focused the show was. It didn't have as much of the drama, and they still had backstories on people, but that wasn't the main focus.
Yeah, they were concise.
I thought that was nice just for me, because that's what I'm into, is the athletic side of it. And I liked how international it was. There was guys talking in Spanish, and they had Korean guys running, South Korea, they had Japanese guys. It wasn't just American Ninja Warrior. So or American guys running. So that was cool. I liked that aspect of it. The obstacles, honestly, were not as good as A&W.
Really? I'm really surprised to hear both you guys say that.
There was some really cool ones, like the gears that spun around in a circle. That was interesting, but a lot of the obstacles leading up to the interesting ones were they just weren't obstacles.
They were
really.
pretty trivial. Yeah, most of it was trivial. I feel like if you took any of the city finalists, not even Vegas, anybody who went to Vegas in Ninja Warrior, almost every single person would finish, almost all of the stages there. There'd be mistakes and stuff, and some people would obviously fall, on the treadmills and but I think generally the completion rate would be literally 80 or 90%. And so that kind of says something too. It's more of a dynamic course, kind of more,
Yeah, they put a lot more work into just the overall layout of the course. You go up a lot higher. If you saw, they were on auto belays, so there's definitely a lot of depth to it. But it just wasn't as interesting to see the athletes move around from an athlete's point of view, because even the things that people were falling on, I was like, yeah, they didn't really pick the best guy. I mean, maybe they'll change. I don't know. We'll see. Season 2's coming up, and yeah, it's still fun.
Yeah, I have to say, if I was going to say anything about the athletes that they picked, they seem to really focus on getting bodybuilders, really big, solid people to run the course, rather than, in a lot of cases, the smaller, wiry guys, like the parkour athletes. I mean, there's a good variety, but they did seem to get a lot of the really big, solid guys that you wouldn't normally see do well on Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, it seemed like they kind of thought that the obstacle course racers, like the Spartan race, Tough Mudder style runners, would do really well. It seemed like they picked a lot of those, and CrossFit people. And they're really strong and talented in what they do, but they're just, being light on your feet and have good forearm and finger strength. it just didn't translate into trying to, conquer the beast.
Well, yeah, and I mean the other thing is like I said, I saw the first episode, I skimmed the second episode, and then I saw this great athlete, and then I saw the finals. But in the second episode, I was totally turned off because nobody even finished the tower. Like they were just like hanging and flailing on it.
Yeah.
And then I also have a problem with, I mean, look, I'm a climber for 25 years, so I'm happy that the final obstacle was a climbing obstacle, but really that's kind of ridiculous because all you got to do is put a climber on the show and
he's going to win.
He's going to win.
Totally.
And so like it's kind of like it was just a little weird. It wasn't very. The other thing was I kind of took some issue with, and this is maybe nitpicky, but when we're watching it from a ninja standpoint. We're watching the obstacles, the way people move. But the other thing we're watching is like there are some things that are out of control of the athletes. Like on the second stage or something, they have an obstacle that sinks. They have several obstacles that sink into the water. And it was clear as like day that the obstacles were sinking faster for certain athletes. And that was clear, even though the athletes were moving faster through the obstacle, that the obstacle actually moved at a different rate.
And they changed the first stage to have the digestive tract actually be a lot steeper. And I just thought it was a little unfair because the other athletes before in the previous shows didn't have to deal with this extreme incline going through that thing. And then all of a sudden...
Yeah, how do you change... Right, how do you have a fair competition where you change the set in the middle? So
I was thinking that too. I want to answer that quickly if I could.
Yeah.
So I thought the same thing because this episode 3 that we're going to review today with Bijan includes some changes, and I thought that was unfair. But then I realized they just need to compete against each other in this particular episode. It doesn't matter. Like the same reason that a lot of people complain about, a lot of times LA feels like they've got the harder A&W courses and they're the first to go. It's not fair that they tweak everything later. But really, they're competing against each other, not necessarily the course itself. So, I mean, harder to get a finisher's badge maybe, but overall, your chances of moving on would be the same as long as you can compete against everybody else.
Yeah, and that's true. That's the same argument with like Isaac and Jeff had the perfect season, but Isaac got rained on and had like a wet. I'm not like defending it or saying anything, but it's the same problem, and I see what you're saying. It's the same problem on A&W, where all the ninjas are like, yeah, Miami was super hard this year, and I'm just throwing stuff out there, and
right.
Kansas City was like super easy, or vice versa, or whatever. Like, but it makes it interesting for TV to change things up.
That's true.
I guess it does get kind of boring, and that's the thing is these are shows. These are all TV shows, and that's. You've got to take the good with the bad. And so I see what you're saying, and I think that's a good answer, is that they're competing against, each other.
All right.
Beastmaster, it'll get better. It'll get better.
Yeah, we like it. It's a cool show. I'm glad that Netflix is doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for the obstacle course racing community. It is similar to Ninja enough to kind of... I think there's so much room in the genre that they're going to help each other, not really compete directly, right? Anybody that watches one will watch the other.
Yeah, we wish we could do both, and I think you're right. I mean, they're just going to help both brands. I don't think... I mean, they're both going to help us, and we're going to help them. And it's a massive emerging trend, which is obstacle course racing and ninja racing, and so, I think that they're definitely synergistic.
Well, thanks for joining us, guys. It was great having you here. We'll let you go. We won't let you get into the details of the episode 3 and all the other business we're going to cover. So,
yeah, no, as always, it's great talking to you, Rich, and it was great to talk to Bijan also. And yeah, let's have you guys out on the Wolfpack Ninja podcast in the next few weeks.
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. What else do we got?
As fun as that was, we still have Ultimate Beastmaster episode 3 to cover. And the National Ninja League at Obstacle Academy. So let's get into it all. Episode 3, overall impression, Bijan. It sounded like you liked this one a lot.
Yeah, I did. It was fun. I really enjoy just the differences from this show between American Ninja Warrior and Yeah, I know, the Wolfpack Ninja guys didn't really enjoy it all that much, but I love the show. Not everything has to be like American Ninja Warrior. And I really enjoyed just the dynamics of the storylines and the competitors. And they changed a few things up on this episode too, which really surprised me. I was not ready for that. Were you?
No, it seemed early. And it's funny because when he was on the show, I made some, and now seemingly stupid comment like, oh, the beast evolves. Make sure you use that if you can. Well, yeah, he used it in episode 3. So it would be kind of like, to go back to Sylvester Stallone, it'd be like me saying after watching Rocky 2 going, you should really fight a Russian in one of these. I think that would be cool. Like, yeah, maybe if you watch all of them and then you can offer an opinion, it would probably be a good thing to do.
Yeah. Up until this episode, I really wasn't sure about a lot of the Americans on this show. A lot of them were very cooker-cutter, like kind of bland. It would, I'm sure everybody can pick out some of these storylines that were somewhat interesting, but they all kind of fit the same mold. And even in this episode, I saw, who's the guy, man?
Ryan Scott, I think, is the one you're probably going to mention.
Yeah. Ryan Scott. He just seems like every competitor that they kept, he's the same dude. I have a feeling like they're cloning the guys. I'm like, dude, give me somebody else. There are so many Americans in this world. I'm not even talking about race or gender. Like, just give me somebody that just looks somewhat different or has a different background. And I kind of got it with Steven Tucker, man. Like, that guy was amazing. His story was so cool. And he just seems so personable and humble. So he definitely immediately stood out to me as somebody to root for.
Well, what stood out to me is they call him a rock climber and they spend his days in the gym. And you watch the video of him in the gym and it's like, this guy's a ninja. Like, there's no way he's not a ninja.
I'm glad you pointed that out, too. I'm like, that's an unstable bridge. Wait, what? Like, he's not a rock climber?
Well, what are they going to do, right? It is kind of a bad position for them to be in because some of the people that would be best at the show would, up until now say, I'm a Ninja Warrior. I'm going to be the next American Ninja Warrior. So it is nice to see that they are including them in the show.
I am very glad about that. And I really hope we, next season or so, we see some, different ninjas maybe on the show. So they did change one thing up on the first stage with this trampoline obstacle. It was pretty, mundane in terms of an obstacle. It wasn't a whole lot, but I'm glad at least with the prospect of they are changing some minor things up.
So yeah, the first and second levels had something change about them pretty early on in the course, so everybody kind of basically faced it. The trampoline thing was kind of cool. A little different. I would say harder than what was there before. It seemed to be.
Yeah. I mean, harder for different people. For women, definitely it'd be harder. For a tall guy, I don't think it would be very difficult.
So you liked Steven Tucker. Was there anybody else that kind of stood out to you? Like, who were your favorites as you went through the episode?
T-Young Lee really stood out to me at the beginning. He was just phenomenal. And I'm going to go into it a little bit later, but that's one thing that I really enjoyed about this episode is that the standings and who you thought would go the furthest kept switching up and up and up. And there were a lot of, I guess, twists involved in terms of the placement of the competitors, which made it really invigorating. It wasn't just like two guys blowing through the competition the entire episode, which kind of were like the first two episodes. So Marcel also really stood out for me from Brazil. He was like phenomenal, and he had a different look. So I really enjoyed him. And Emmanuel Chang, obviously. That guy, he just looks like a tank. And
yeah,
I was actually really, really, out of all the competitors, I think I might be the most impressed by Emmanuel Chang. Because this competition is not made for somebody his size, and yet he thoroughly blew past all expectations. So I actually am very, very high up on Emmanuel Chang. Anybody else, the other competitors I was named off, you look at their body types, you look at what their talents are, and you're like, okay, I could see how they'd get far in this competition. A bodybuilder is just muscle upon muscle and doesn't really stand out to you in terms of jumping ability, balance, or anything like that, or holding their body weight up. I mean, this guy really did well, so he impressed me.
Yeah, I liked Marcel. He really stood out, especially since, he bashed his face early on. and he made it all the way to the mag wall. He's like spitting blood, but even after all that, after he did so well, he still seemed like he was kind of down on himself. Like he had higher expectations of himself. So like, I was like, this guy really wants it. Like he could see that he really wanted to complete everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But besides those guys, the one that stood out to me, and maybe it's silly, maybe it's ridiculous, but Fernando Casanova from Mexico is the most badass looking guy we've seen in the show.
I knew you were going to say that.
Epic beard. The guy was like, oh, I love that guy. I was rooting for him the whole time through. I was getting so disappointed when he started tripping up on the second level. I was like, no, Fernando, no. What are you doing?
Yeah, he just looks like a Marine or something. Like, everybody just imagine this, like, big, burly guy, tattoos, giant beard. You can imagine him just, like, riding on a motorcycle with sunglasses on, like, this guy looks dope. Yeah, I knew you were going to save that. That's why I left him for you, man. Anybody else stand out for you?
I'm not sure I forget now if it's Maki or Maki, from Japan, the pole dancer lady.
Yeah, there was this really tiny pole dancing lady from Japan, and she was, she stood out to me, not only her look, but she was actually pretty good.
Yeah, what stood out to me was she caught the chain. Like, she went way too far down when she jumped to the chain for the energy coil, or on the face plant, heading over the energy coils, and she caught it. Like, the amount of upper body strength it must have taken to catch that chain, I thought, wow, if she can catch that, I really want to see what she can do in the rest of the course. Mm-hmm. But yeah, those are like the top ones that stood out. Most of them are the ones that did the best, obviously. I guess the only other guy that really stood out in the episode that we haven't mentioned, we might as well give a quick shout out to him too, is Joel Pazitsky, the German sideshow Bob guy.
Basically a dude with a mop on his head. Super curly hair. Pretty much. I have no idea how that guy's a model, because different strokes for different folks, I guess.
I mean, he stands out. You remember him.
That's true.
But yeah, he did pretty well too. But overall, it was really like U.S. versus Mexico as we went through the course.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, for me, the true story of the show was Stage 2. That was where a lot of things got interesting. Did you have any highlights from Stage 2?
Fernando sinking in the digestive tract and making me lose all hope that he was going to make it to the finals.
Now, that was an interesting point that I'm glad you brought up. So, for the digestive tract, I was always worried because for everybody that doesn't like follow it, it's a kind of a tube that's, I don't know, at a 45-degree angle, right? And it sinks into the water. So I'm like, if you're still in that tube and it sinks all the way in the water, I mean, that is a super big hazard. You can drown. So yes. I'm glad, like, it jips you into the water, and as soon as, like, your body's in the water, it just stops. Could you just imagine for these poor competitors, like, that is a scary situation.
It would be. Like, even if you know they've got safety guys there, then it's only going to go so far. It would still be scary to have that thing closing up at the back behind you.
Yeah. Nobody made it out of the tube to the escalator, but there was one guy, and I think it would have been the furthest we've seen this entire competition, where he put a hand on the little spinal thing. Who was that?
That was Steven Tucker. That was
Steven Tucker. Yeah.
Yeah. He made it to chain reaction. So after you jump out of the digestive tract onto the floating treadmills, which I can't think of the name for them right then, but you have to jump over to these, like, is it called treadmills?
Dreadmills with a D.
Oh, dreadmills. Yeah. They had to jump over to chains, and he has to swing from, like, Tarzan, like, rope jungle type thing with chains. And he's the first person to make it so far over. He actually got his hand onto the vertebrae for the extra 20 points, basically completing chain reaction.
Yeah.
More or less. So awesome job. That's the furthest we've seen anybody go yet.
Yeah, and I don't know, their modifications were a little weak on this one. I was underwhelmed by the fact that for their modification on Stage 2, the cords, I forget the name of it, but like the one with all the bungee cords, they just added 20 pounds of resistance on that. I didn't really find that big enough modification. So I hope going on to, like, later episodes, they have, I guess, a little bit tougher of modifications for these stages.
Well, here's the thing. That might be a lot tougher, but it's definitely not visually any more stimulating. You have no idea. You can't tell.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter how much more difficult it is if we can't see it.
Mm-hmm. And, I have a feeling these are things that are going to be addressed in season 2. So I'm actually really high up because everybody involved in this show seems to have a good head on their shoulders. So I'm pretty confident going into season 2 that we're going to see a lot of modifications. I sure hope so, at least.
Yeah, so anything else from level 2?
Nope, but stage 3, man. Woo! First, I gotta say, Steven Tucker flew past the beginning part, just killing it. Got a full jump out of that treadmill thing that gives a lot of people problems. Got his leg up that is really difficult and hit the whatever multiplier, duplicator, thingy-majigger of points. I forget its name. But then he was slow as molasses on that one part that goes down, and that is the one time you don't want to be slow, man. So I find it really interesting of how people are going to attack that particular obstacle. But I feel like later on we got a good sign of how to attack it, like a good technique involved with it. Did you think, though, at some point, the circular outer part is going down into the water, and the guy kind of climbs up to the top, towards the top of it. Did you think he was going to be able to do it, Rich?
I usually have faith, and I kind of did there. I thought, oh my God, this is going to be really cool. Especially since they kept so much focus on it, him continuing to try. I thought, oh my God, he might actually manage to pull this off.
I would have if he was allowed to grab the rope that was holding it up, but since he wasn't, I felt he had no chance of climbing up on that thing. With that said, once again, guys, we had a great montage of these guys just whiffing it, getting trying to jump off this treadmill. Out of everything in this competition, I can't believe that's the thing that gives so many people the grief. I look at that and I find it just, I don't know. I think it's pretty obvious what you do, but maybe it's just one of those Vision 2020. Maybe these are the first time, or this is the first time these competitors are seeing this treadmill obstacle, and they're just not thinking about it because they're jumping way too late and whiffing it every time. And I'm like, just jump a little bit early. It's not that big of a deal.
But you're trying to watch the ropes, right? You're focused on, okay, I got to jump and I got to get both my hands. I got to make sure I grab both of those things. And you're vaguely aware of where you are, but I mean, it's so precise that I don't know. These high level athletes, I trust the fact that they're failing on it more than my perception of how easy it may or may not be.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, man. I mean, there's got to be other elements that we're just not seeing, or just the perspective messes with it. One thing that I always say about the show is a lot of these obstacles are probably a lot more difficult than we perceive them to be. I remember the first times I've watched American Ninja Warrior, and there were obstacles where I'm like, oh, that looks really easy. But then when you try it in person, you realize it's not as easy as it looks. Even quintuple steps, honestly, guys. First time I did quintuple steps, I almost broke my damn neck. I almost did a backflip in the air. But, the second time I tried it, I learned from my first mistake, and, I understood there's technique, because I think some people overlook them, and I think this might be the same situation. Now, with that said, I have to talk about Emmanuel Chang's term, because at a certain point, right, we always talk about stage 3 and how there's this junction where you can go right and you can go for more points, but if you fail, you lose 40 points. Or you can go left, take an additional, I forget if it's 20 or 30 points, and you end the entire competition or the entire stage, right?
There is another obstacle there, I'm pretty sure. We haven't seen it yet, but I think there's another obstacle there for them, but not the 3. You get the other way.
And it's not as hard.
Penalties.
Yeah,
and it's not as hard, I don't think.
So going into that junction, he had 200 points. He was 10 points away from being at the number 1 and guaranteeing himself in stage 4. So all he had to do really was go left, get that extra 20 or 30 points, and he's in the finals no matter what. And stage 4, they wiped the points clean. So why on earth, dude, did he go right and go for the more points? If he were to fail at that first optional obstacle, he were to have lost 40 points, and he'd completely just nerf himself out of stage 4.
Well, he put himself at risk, at least. Whereas he would have been, I 100% agreed. I was wondering if you were thinking the same thing. Why are you going that way? You are the first person I've seen that should clearly take the easier route.
Yes, this is the epitome of the situation we were talking about, where it's you are in prime like you're going like second to last. You don't have to worry. You know you're in the finals. You just have to take the easier route, and you've got it. Guaranteed. Now, I'm very happy, guys, that he didn't whiff it on the first part, and he was able to get through. But boy, was that a dumb thing to do. Maybe it was just like he wanted to try it, but I don't know, man. I wouldn't have taken that risk.
Yeah, there's a few interesting things about his run, actually, that we learned and saw. So, is he the first person to use his hand to hit that point thruster as a swing by? He went one-handed to hit the point thruster. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, definitely was. And this dude is all muscle, so I'm sure he can hold himself up doing that, but I wouldn't have done that.
Besides that, two things we learned about him taking that bonus detour way. One is that they can touch the bungee cords. I didn't think they could.
I didn't know that.
That was really interesting. That I don't know what. Yeah, she says that while he's on the course, and I thought, oh my God, why aren't they doing that? Then that totally would make it a lot easier, you would think.
Yeah, that's weird.
And one last thing about it though is he steps off the course after completing that, so that must mean he didn't attempt and fail the ones after that, so he doesn't get the 40-point penalty.
Yeah, he doesn't get the 40-point penalty because he completed the thing. But he decided not to try for the trapeze. And honestly, with a guy his build, because this guy is just packing on muscle, and he's just asking to rip a pec doing that trapeze. So I'm actually kind of glad he didn't try it, but it was interesting that he just like hopped off it after he completed the obstacle. Basically, from what I've seen, you have to touch the next obstacle to get the points, and then you can drop out. We saw it with the spinal tap with Steven Tucker, how he touched it and then he dropped into the water. And we saw with this where the guy touched a trapeze bar and then hopped off the obstacle.
So I'm wondering what the points, though. I don't know if they actually clarified that, because what's confusing to me is when you think about the point system for that side, it really has been kind of weighing on me that going that way is a really kind of an all or nothing thing if it's just the get 40 for passing it and lose 40 for failing it, because either you fail the first obstacle and lose 40 points, you fail the second obstacle and break even.
Nope. It's only the first obstacle where you'll lose 40 points.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I think that's where you're missing it. It's the first obstacle, the bungee bridge thingy, or the mattresses or whatever. That one you'll lose 40 points. After that, it's just you'll gain more and more points.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense then. That makes a lot more sense than the way I was thinking.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's no point of trying it, really. I mean, there's too much of a risk involved.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And to be fair, I find that first part the hardest, so I'm cool with it. That mattress part looks just brutal. Now, dude, what's with some of the teams continuously shouting like USA or Mexico or something? Like, that got really grating. I think this is the episode where I am like, dude, this is getting real forced. I love Team South Korea because of the fact that they aren't just so, like, Korea, like there's something else. They're dancing, they're singing. We didn't get enough of them this episode, by the way, guys. What the heck? Broom, give me more Team South Korea. They are dope. But Terry Crews and Carissa just needs to stop with the USA. It's fine, but it's so forced. It's brutal.
Thank you. Thank you for sparing me from being the one to say that. I was like, I'm not anti-American, but that USA thing is getting old really fast.
Yeah. It's fine every once in a while, guys, but come on. Like, every episode, like 5 times, I'm like, yo.
Yeah, every time they take the course, you don't have to do it. That's fine.
All right, so we go to the finals, and it's, honestly, like, it's funny because on stage 1, I was like, Marcel and T-Young Lee has got this, And then stage 2 comes, and there are a few others that really stood out to me that, are going to go far. And then stage 3, and it's Steven Tucker and Emmanuel Chang, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy!" Like the competitor just keeps switching up, and I loved that. Now going into stage 4, I think Rich, like we knew who was going to win this, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it seemed really obvious. I mean, it doesn't take a genius. The guy that's built like one of the obstacles versus the rock climber.
Yeah. I like at a certain point I felt really bad for Emmanuel. I'm like, oh, this just isn't even right, man.
And that's actually one of the criticisms that Noah or Ian had. Shoot, I forget already which one of them said it, but that it's kind of silly to have this clearly rock climbing challenge as the last thing. Of course, climbers are going to dominate it. Like this being the ultimate test for the episode is kind of an unfair advantage to climbers.
I feel you, but at the same time, I mean, isn't that what we have in American Ninja Warrior on stage 4?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know, I'm not a rock climber, and I can tell you right now, I'm not climbing a whatever foot rope that whole way. That's not happening. So I understand the argument, right? But I feel like this show, to get to that point, is pretty good at you having to use different athletic abilities. And I will say, more than anything else, once again, like Steven Tucker, I was so happy for him. Not only did Team America finally get a person in there, and he's not the cookie cutter guy that we seem like, we didn't get like the fourth clone of the same guy. He looks different. He seems different. He's a nice guy. Got an amazing story with his son. We didn't even talk about that. He's a single father and all this stuff. Seems like an amazing guy. But Emmanuel Chang really stood out to me. A guy that size did so much for somebody that does, like, you don't see people his size rock climbing, and yet he got halfway up that thing. He actually did better than both competitors last episode. I mean, this guy really impressed me. And if anything, I mean, I came out of this episode really rooting for both guys, and I hope, like, somehow, some way we see Emmanuel Chang again, because that guy really, I was really impressed by him.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see him again, but yeah, he was really good. I mean, I don't see how we'll see competitors again. I guess it's kind of the downfall of the show in some ways, right? Because with Ninja, we do get to see repeat competitors. We get to see people come back. But in this case, we only get to see them come back for the finale. And I'm going to guess this season will be it, right? We're not going to have people coming back season after season. Could be wrong, but I'm thinking probably not.
No, I feel you. But hopefully we see them with maybe their own, like, countries, Ninja Warrior, something. Who knows? But, yeah, overall, still, thumbs up on this show.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying every moment of it.
It is such a welcome relief after the Ninja Warrior UK fiasco. Like, it's like something you look forward to watching each week.
Yeah, that UK Ninja Warrior can just jump in a volcano.
But yeah, we still get Team Ninja Warrior coming up, so lots to look forward to. And speaking of, it's a little bit of a flashback since the whole finale is over, but let's move on to the National Ninja League at Obstacle Academy.
Let's do it.
So running down the women, we had in third place Sarah Heeson, in second Kayla Kolar, and in first Alyssa Beard. All three women actually went out on the same balance obstacle. It's just a matter of who got there sooner. But it's worth noting that Alyssa went pretty far out of her way to get to this competition. There was like some serious drama at the end of the National Ninja League between Jessie Lebrecht and Alyssa Beard fighting for that top spot. And Alyssa traveled all the way to this competition to take first place and bump herself to the top of the league. So good for her. That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's just crazy that they're traveling the country, you know, going to all these little competitions and killing it, you know. That's amazing. I am so jealous and so happy for them. And honestly, it's a good, like, a friendly competition. So I'm glad they're getting their training in and everything like that.
Yeah. And for the men, we had Jake Murray in third place. In second place, we had Mike Salenzi. And in first, Brock Bebu, I believe. Mm-hmm. So Jake has an injured back, and he was like yelling. He was lashing, and he was like yelling in pain going across it. Like that was rough to watch.
It's one of those runs that really stand out to me as very dramatic and very invigorating to watch, right? Like, you feel for him. You feel his pain. You're rooting for him. Every once in a while, like, we see too many runs where the guy's just going through it, and it's almost too easy for them where you don't see the struggle, and you don't get a very good feeling for what they're going through, like how difficult it is for them. So I actually really appreciated, like... And I don't appreciate, like, him having to hurt himself, but in a way, it was... I appreciated just the yells and the screams, and I was getting more and more emotionally involved, rooting for him and feeling his pain through that. I hope he's okay, though. That's the important thing. I really hope he's okay in American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of watching Ryan Stratus run Philly last year. So with his
good example,
shoulder.
Yeah.
Yep. Where you definitely don't want someone to be in pain, but at the same time, it can't help but draw you in more. You're just like rooting for them. You want them to get as far as they possibly can. You want them to do well because of that extra amount of effort that they're putting in.
Yeah, great guy too. So I really hope he's doing well for American Ninja Warrior. Like, I don't know when this was filmed, because backs don't take that. Like, backs are not like quick healers. You know, it takes time to heal the back.
Yeah, this was 3 or 4 weeks ago, so it would have been before you guys met, and we haven't even gotten into that yet. We haven't even mentioned the fact that you were at the taping for LA.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Matt Eisman, getting that VIP. Everybody at Rob Has a Podcast are making a big deal out of him inviting one of the dudes. It's like, yo, bro, I got ticks first. But, like, props to everybody that ran National Ninja League and everything at, what is it, Obstacle Academy? Interesting title.
Yeah. Just to wrap up, the course itself looked solid. It looked pretty tough. There was one finisher, that was Brock, did a great job. They had a really cool obstacle there. It was like a portable pole grasper type thing with a little hook on it. So they like hold onto this pole and then move one pole to the next. Very cool, very unique. Overall, great video.
Yeah. Next week, you get to see Jessica Britton run, and I'm looking forward to that. She's awesome.
Okay, so let's get into this. I can't believe we didn't even hype or mention that beforehand, and I haven't even asked you a bunch of questions that I had for you for how this whole trip went. LA qualifier this year versus last. Better, worse, just as good?
I'd say just as good. I'm not going to try to hype it, be like, it's the greatest, but it's not bad either. I was there for the first night, guys, and I specifically the ANW peeps wanted me there all the nights, and it's like I have work commitments and everything. And more importantly, for this show, I wanted to go into the watch the show back and have fresh eyes. So I only went the first night, and I'm very glad that I was able to do that. And first of all, huge shout out and thank you to everybody involved with me getting, not only tickets to go to the tapings, but VIP. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I appreciate everybody giving me this experience and opportunity to be part of it and get closer to everybody involved with the show. It was really great meeting everybody there. Special shout outs in particular to Matt Eisman, who I met. Very gracious guy, very nice, very tall, by the way, but I think everybody can probably expect that. 2 new friends that I made over there that I wasn't prepared for. Hillary Bibikoff. Shout out to her. She is Matt Eisman's, of all people, lawyer, and she was the nicest person I ever met. I was sitting next to her half the time. We were just joking around. Great person. So shout out to her. And Cameron Aaron, big fan of the show, obviously. And she was also very gracious and very nice and cool to hang out with. So, yeah, I met a lot of people there, as we alluded to. Jake Murray, I met one of the nicest Ninja Warriors I've ever met. It is insane how kind that guy is and how gracious it is. Jake, we'll get you on the show eventually. Really looking forward to talking to you again, my man. And yeah, I met a bunch of other great people. A lot of competitors from the San Diego local scene were there, and I can't say how they did and everything, but huge shout out to Sander, to Paige, and a lot of other people that, from the local scene. And once again, big thumbs up to the course. That's all I'll say in terms of the course, man. Good stuff, and I'm really looking forward to this season.
Oh, man. It sounds like you had a great time. You get to meet some of the ninjas and stuff. And I've just been waiting for it. I don't know if it's just slipped your mind or if you're holding off for any particular reason, but when you sent me the picture or actually it was the text I got first that you got to meet.
The one that I have not said yet, right?
Yeah, the one that's just kind of hanging out there. you just, come on, man. You got to talk about it.
I got to meet Makoto Nagano, everybody. My hero. This guy is the reason I got into American Ninja Warrior. I was a kid coming home, running home to the TV, throwing on G4, and just rooting for Makoto Nagano to finally make it. He always got so close, and yet he finally did. This guy is a legend. He is the best. I don't care what you say. He is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. Not even close. I love this guy, and I can't believe I actually was able to meet him. He was so gracious, so kind. I was fanboying out, freaking out, but I was trying to keep it composed. I'm just trying to be all calm, be like, hi, nice to meet you and everything. But inside, I was freaking out. So
That's awesome.
I can't believe, like, it was funny. Like, I'm just watching everybody run, and this dude just walks by, like Makata Nagano, just in a jacket, just walks by, and everybody's just watching the tapings, and nobody even notices him. Nobody even, like, looks at him, and I'm just like, that's my Makata, like, what? And then, like past him, you just see David Campbell. David Campbell just walks by with him, you know, and I'm like, that's crazy.
The two of them together for you is like crazy. Yeah,
so like he walks by again, like off to do his thing off on the side, and once again nobody recognizes him. And at that point I almost like shouted out, like, what is wrong with everybody? Like, everybody just needs to stop. Like, that's the greatest of all time. This show exists because that guy boosted the ratings on G4. There is no American Ninja Warrior before there is a regular Ninja Warrior. Okay, this guy is the reason. I was appalled. Like, of course, he probably wanted to be incognito, and everybody. Some people are trying to be nice, but to me, Mr. Fanboying out and everything, I was like, no. Everybody needs to, like, appreciate this guy. Everybody stop. Everybody I was losing my mind. But, hey, it was fine for me because I got to, like, walk right up to him while I was yeah, it was the greatest. That's all I'll say. I'm going to stop fanboying now. I'm blushing.
I've been waiting for that the whole episode for you to continue to lose it.
It might have been one of the greatest moments of my life. Might have been. Yeah. Just, I was so happy. And once again, guys, if you want to, like, the one thing that always stands out to me is how short a lot of these competitors are, I guess, compared to me. If you see my picture next to Makata Nagano, I think my height kind of stands out. But once again, I'm only 5'11". I'm not like some tall dude. So it's weird. Oh, Jeff Britton. I met Jeff Britton. What's up, Jeff? Like, I can't believe I forgot to say that I met Jeff Britton. So Jeff is now the second person that I've met, both you and I, Rich.
Yeah,
and,
look at that.
Great guy. Once again, I was shocked he was working on the course. I hope that's... I don't see why that wouldn't be allowed to say, right, Rich? So
that should be fine.
Yeah. So it was great to see him working on the course and everything. At least he was there, even though he wasn't competing. And I don't really think that's a spoiler for anybody, seeing how he retired. I'm so happy that he's still part of the show, part of the sport and everything, and that he was there. And he seemed very happy to be there too. So I'm glad he's in good spirits as well.
Cool. So we were going to get into the ANW Fantasy, our teams, but I think we're going to save that for another episode because we are running late once again. There's so much to talk about lately. So there are only a few episodes left before our 100th episode, and if you'd like to be included, we are putting together a video celebrating the podcast, celebrating Ninja Warrior. Send us your short video to rich@ninjapodcast.com if you'd like to be included. The deadline I'm going to set for March 31st, so please try to get them in sooner if you can, because there's going to be a lot to put together, I'm hoping. And again, that's rich@ninjapodcast.com. If you'd like to reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, it is @ninjapodcast. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Bijan151. That is Bijan151. And yeah, go to wolfpackninjas.com, guys. Definitely, especially if you're in the area of Denver, Colorado. I mean, show your support. Show us some support. Support. Yes. Yeah.
Get your tickets. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic week.
Peace, y'all. Stop being so hot.